I think it's disgraceful. The U.S.-Israel relationship should be ironclad. We have no better ally in the Middle East, and we have such strong cultural and religious ties to the state of Israel. For them to be treating Israel really with the back of their hand, I think it's a mistake, but I think it's part and parcel for how this administration sees the world. I mean, they're more interested in kowtowing to Iran than they are than standing by our allies. And so, my view as president would be we're going to have a really strong U.S.-Israel relationship, and that'll be something that Americans can be proud of.
So you mentioned Iran, which of course for us is number one priority. In case it will be in your hand, in your power, what would you do regarding Iran and its nuclear plan?
Well, the whole Obama-Khomeini deal was a total disaster. Biden is trying to resuscitate that, and basically when you give concessions to the Iranians, they use that money to be able to foment terrorism. They will put that money into weapons development. And so I think squeezing Iran, making sure that they understand that their pursuit of this is going to be bad for them economically, diplomatically, and potentially even militarily, that is the way. The only thing that the mullahs understand is strength. You can't try to cozy up to them. It just doesn't work. So we would be, we would be supportive of Israel's predicament, and obviously we would have a much stronger posture against Iran.
And strength means using military power as well?
Well, look, I mean, I think we have a great deterrent capacity, but it's not as good as it used to be. One of the things that we'll do as president is rebuild some of our military capacity, because I think particularly when you look at our ability to project power by sea, we have like 280 ships in the Navy. We used to have almost 600 back in Reagan's day. So there's a lot that we need to do. But at the end of the day, I can say this: Iran represents an existential threat to the state of Israel. Now, they would love to do what they would love to wipe Israel off the world. They would love to wipe America. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's no love lost for either. But given Israel's geographic proximity to Iran, Israel's relatively small size, they could potentially, if armed with nuclear weapons, try to completely annihilate Israel in a way that they may not have the capability to go after us yet. So I think for Israel, you don't get a more significant threat. Now, why would Iran be more? There's a lot of bad people in the neighborhood, and I think the reason with Iran is their ideology. They have an apocalyptic worldview. Using a nuclear weapon on another country is something that you would not want to do because you could get a response nuclear. So why would you want that mutually assured destruction? And that kept the nukes in check during the Cold War. And it keeps most civilized countries in check from wanting to do that. However, this Iranian regime with the Ayatollah, they may view that as a positive because it may coincide with their apocalyptic vision for the end of time. So I think from that perspective, Israel has a right to defend itself, and the U.S. should be supportive of them taking whatever action they need to defend themselves.
And very briefly, if you can, you won't go, I guess, now to understandings like Biden wants between him and Iran.
Understanding what? I mean,
regarding the nuclear plan.
Well, first of all, you got to understand, if you look at, obviously, U.S. has suffered terrorist attacks, 9/11 and whatnot, with that. But if you look at what nation state has killed more Americans since 1979, Iran has killed more Americans, whether it's the Marine barracks in Beirut, whether it was, they killed at least 1,000 U.S. troops in Iraq by funding Shia militia. And so the idea that we're going to have some understanding, I just don't see that in the cards.